Greetings, Mendocino County. I am coming to you as your health officer, Mendocino County's health officer, following through with a promise that we have made you in public health and with our emergency operations center that we will promptly inform you of any new cases of COVID-19 in our county. Yesterday, I became aware of a individual who was returned to our county from an outside area where this individual had an exposure to others with COVID-19. We rapidly at Public Health coordinated with our primary care clinics in the area to have this individual evaluated, and a test was done within hours of this individual coming to our attention. The test came back today as positive. This fifth case is a male between the ages of 19 and 34 years old. He has been asymptomatic the entire time since he had the exposure. He has been quarantining at home, and at this point, now that he has a positive result, because people that have positive tests are in isolation, he is now isolating at home with a relative. I do want to thank the terrific partnership of our public safety partners, as well as the partnership of our community clinic community, who were able to help us rapidly and promptly get a test for this individual and make sure that he is in isolation and his family member is in quarantine at home. Both of these individuals are asymptomatic, feeling well, and stable at home. So I'm very grateful today that joining me in this live meeting is Eisen Locatelli, our Chief of Probation, Justin Wyatt, our Chief of Police, and Matt Kendall, our Sheriff. Thank you very much. Next, could we hear please from Sheriff Kendall?
Thank you, Dr. Doohan. I'd like to address Mendocino County regarding my concerns basically with the state prison system's recent releases. The California state prison system was given a green light to do early releases of subjects who are housed in state prisons throughout the state of California. This came from Governor Newsom's office, and I believe that the legislative intent behind this was to slow or stop the spread of COVID-19 within the state prison systems. The young man who is in Ukiah, or in the Ukiah area, is not a Ukiah resident. He is a subject who was released from Chino State Prison in, I learned about it when I received a call from the Stanislaus County Sheriff, Jeff Durst, on yesterday afternoon. Stanislaus County Sheriff got a hold of me and said that a subject had been released from Chino State Prison and was ordered to turn himself into Stanislaus County Probation Department. That subject did not turn himself into the Stanislaus County Probation Department, however, traveled from Chino, California, all the way and wound up in the Ukiah area, where he picked up the phone and called Stanislaus County. I got a hold of Chief Locatelli because Sheriff Durst had explained to me that there was a memorandum from Chino State Prison that was forwarded on the 9th to Stanislaus County Probation Department. That memorandum basically explained that the inmate was a known contact to a COVID-19 infection. The inmate was placed on a 14-day quarantine on the 7th of April. However, the paperwork shows that he was released on the 8th. Following that time, I'm not sure exactly how he made it to Mendocino County, but Chino is approximately 8 hours from now, probably about a 500-mile drive. The Chief Locatelli was able to assist me in getting all the information from Stanislaus County. We believe that this subject has been in the Ukiah area for about 6 days at this point, possibly 7. We were able to immediately notify Ukiah Police Chief Justin Wyatt, as well as Mendocino County Office of Emergency Services in the County Health Department. Dr. Doohan and Dr. Flaherty were able to get a test very rapidly for us. That test, I was advised today, came back as positive. I have some extreme concerns. The fact that a memorandum was sent out to the probation department in Stanislaus County, where this subject I don't believe ever stopped, and Mendocino County was never notified about this, is quite honestly pretty disheartening for me. My concerns continue to grow regarding these issues. I'm afraid that just turning people loose at the door and saying go about your way is kind of akin to throwing sparks in the dry grass. Mendocino County is doing really, really well right now. We've got 4 cases. I believe all of them have come back to health, and we don't need any more. Dr. Doohan, am I correct in that?
Yes, we have 4. We had our first 4 cases have fully recovered. And so as of this morning, we had no active cases, with this individual being our 5th case and only active case at this time. Sir.
Well, I think that Mendocino County is doing pretty well. Under the circumstances that we're in, our residents are following the orders of the health officer. Our residents are doing a good job of taking care of their friends, their families, the people they work with during some pretty trying times. We don't need to have any more issues like this happening in the state of California. I'll turn it over to Chief Locatelli.
Hi, this is Police Chief Justin Wyatt with the City of Ukiah. Well, doesn't look like Chief Locatelli is unmuted yet, so I'll go ahead and go. I just want to echo everything that the sheriff's already said. He immediately contacted me about this situation, and I appreciate the immediate notice. I'm also concerned. It's my understanding that, as the sheriff said, this inmate was identified as being at risk for exposure. He was quarantined, and then he was released the next day before the end of his quarantine. I'm told that he was to report to Stanislaus County, but in fact, his first report was by telephone and to say that he was in Ukiah. I also am concerned that this presence here has been authorized and the problems that it's causing us. The Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, and Mendocino County Probation have worked very closely with Public Health to make sure we're aware of who the subject is and where he's at and to get him tested. And I appreciate the quick response by Public Health and the communication and updates as this has progressed. I assure you, all of us have made numerous inquiries with the California State Prison System and also the Stanislaus Probation Department as to how this was allowed to happen. I'm very concerned, as the sheriff stated, about how the systems that are supposed to be working with each other are in fact working against each other to a degree. And this is just another example of an issue that's been imported into our community and that we now have to deal with. And we have no time. This is something we're dealing with immediately. As the sheriff said, we're following all the rules here and we've done very well. And now we have our first positive test within the city limits of Ukiah. And I'm very concerned and I'm actually pretty upset about how this was handled. And we are looking into this and we have a lot of inquiries into how this has happened. And I'll now turn it over to Chief Locatelli.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Go ahead, Chief. I can hear you.
Okay, great. As Sheriff Kendall pointed out, he got a hold of me and I was immediately able to reach my counterpart in Stanislaus County, who was able to get us all the information on this person. Since that time, less than about 48 hours, we've been able to get all of this accomplished in Mendocino County. And I think that is through the great partnerships that we have and the ability to get things done quickly here in our rural community. It is unfortunate between his release and when we found out about it, that 6 days had elapsed, which we can't take back and we can't fix. We never like to learn from mistakes. This is, from the state level, has caused us some problems here in Mendocino County that we're correcting on the fly, and we're doing a good job of handling. Sheriff Kendall, Chief Wyatt, Dr. Doohan, and Dr. Flaherty, kudos to everything you've done on this situation and any situations that might come because of this. I have been able to talk to the person directly. I have gathered some information from him, put some assurances in place about strengthening quarantining. I've talked to the chief in Stanislaus County about some corrections. We often learn how to do things better. We could have been notified quicker. I don't know if we could have prevented him from landing in Ukiah, as the Stanislaus chief didn't have control about what happened when he was released. But there was control about whether to release or not to release, and testing before that release. And some of this information that's come out, I think might give us an opportunity to fix some things at the state level. A state problem shouldn't then become a county problem. So hopefully some of this communication that we've been having is making policy level makers decisions at the state level to address some of these issues. We are hearing that they are being released in large batches via vans and buses. And, the safety of our community, we can't control what's going on, how they're getting out of the prison. And if they're under quarantine orders as they're released, then how is this mode of transportation acceptable or safe? And I think I'll leave it at that.
I have been quite upset over this. This subject's projected release date was the 7th of May. If the paperwork that I received from Stanislaus County is completely accurate, he was placed into quarantine on April 7th. That quarantine would have been up on the 21st. However, he was released the next day. I've been in contact with Ralph Diaz, the Secretary of State Prisons. We're working on this problem. Secretary Diaz has assured me that he's going to jump on it and make sure that this doesn't occur further. My concern is how many times has it occurred? We know of one issue here at this point. However, what does the rest of the state look like right now? Thank you.
If I may thank Chief Locatelli and Chief Wyatt and Sheriff Kendall. From my perspective as the health officer, the coordination and cooperation that we've had from all of you has been exemplary. And I want to share that what we do on the public health side, when we become aware of a case, we start a contact investigation so that we can investigate who this person might have had contact with. And our initial contact investigation, which was started several hours ago, was very reassuring that this individual did, as far as we can tell at this time, stay quarantined as directed, and that he is now in isolation under isolation orders and is asymptomatic. So that was reassuring. And I just thank you, gentlemen, for the excellent communication and allowing us on the public health side to step in. And also, again, thank the community clinic, who on very short notice took this patient, evaluated them, followed all the proper personal protective equipment requirements, and very safely achieved the sampling that we could get to the public health lab in Santa Rosa promptly. So within at least our county and with our partnerships here locally, we did our part. We responded very quickly. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, for all of your efforts on the part of public safety. So I think that probably can wrap it up for this update. We do have a press release coming out within, let me say, 2 hours. We're working on it right now, but we are committed to sharing information promptly with our community, as we have done with every other case before this one. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doohan.
Thank you.